Hello everyone, this is the Douglas 27. I think we can all agree that Halo 5's biggest downfall was its campaign. There are several things that make Halo 5's campaign so lackluster. Level design that is too linear, enemy AI that is unfairly and poorly programmed, and the god-awful story are the reasons that are usually brought up for the overall poor quality of Halo 5's campaign. Alongside these issues, I think that one of the biggest reasons for the failure of Halo 5's campaign was that it had far too many characters. This impacted both the gameplay and story. Let's look at how the issue of too many characters affected Halo 5's campaign, and discuss how Halo 6 can fix this issue.
While I call for Marine support.
First, let's take a look at how large Halo 5's core cast of characters actually is. We have Blue Team and Fireteam Osiris, Captain Lasky, Dr. Halsey, Commander Palmer, the Arbiter, Roland, the Warden Eternal, 031 Exuberant Witness, and Cortana. You can debate that Governor Sloan or Julim Dama belong in the list of core characters, and you could also argue that some characters like Roland or Exuberant should be only considered side characters. But using the list I presented here, we have 16 core characters. That is a lot. Now, let's take a look back at how many core characters the older Halo games had. Halo CE only had a few core characters: Chief, Cortana, Sergeant Johnson, Captain Keyes, and 343 Guilty Spark. You could debate that Foehammer is a core character, or that Johnson is a side character, but again, we'll just stick with the list that I have here. That means that Halo CE had 5 core characters, only one of which was playable, compared to Halo 5's 8 playable characters. However, CE is more of an extreme example with its low amount of characters. So let's look at how many characters Halo 3 had. We have Chief, Cortana, Arbiter, Johnson, Miranda Keyes, Lord Hood, Artos Vadum, Truth, the Gravemind, and Guilty Spark. Again, you could make the argument that some of these characters should be side characters and some other characters should be core characters, but we'll use this list. So, Halo 3 had 10 core characters, 2 of whom were playable. That's still significantly less than Halo 5's 16 core and 8 playable characters. We know that Halo 5 had a lot more characters than previous Halo games, but how did this affect the game? As we all know, Halo 5 was the first Halo game to feature a squad-based campaign. The whole campaign was designed around 4-player co-op, and when playing alone, you were followed by 3 AI Spartans. Gameplay-wise, this was a drastic shift from previous Halo games, because now your life was tied to 3 AIs who would often fail when trying to revive you. Also, the style of enemy encounters was changed to fit the new squad-based style of gameplay. As a result, Halo 5's campaign felt very different from other Halo campaigns, and not the good type of different. I don't have much more to say about how the amount of characters in Halo 5 affected gameplay, so let's move on to how the story was affected. Of all the characters in Halo 5, which ones do you care about? Probably Chief, Cortana, Buck, and the Arbiter will come to mind. But here's the more important question. Do you care about them because of what they did in Halo 5? My answer to that question would be no. We care about Buck because we already knew and liked him. We care about Arbiter because we already knew and liked him. We care about Cortana because we already knew and liked her. And obviously we care about Chief because he's Chief. These characters, as well as all the other characters in the game, do nothing that would make us care about them within Halo 5's story. Chief has a vision and runs around between a few planets with Blue Team before they get trapped in a cryptid. Oh boy, you sure did a lot for the story, Chief. Locke and Fireteam Osiris kill Julim Dama, which has no impact on the rest of the story, seeing as how the Covenant Remnant is still a threat later in the game even without their leader. And they rescue Blue Team from the cryptid. So in hindsight, Osiris did do some good things for the story, but we still don't care about them. The reason we don't care about Osiris is because they, like most of the other characters in Halo 5, lack character development. I'm sure you've heard that a million times by now. None of them really have any motivations for doing what they're doing. Chief has some motivation for finding Cortana, but it isn't shown well in-game, because Chief also suffers from a lack of character development. So, why didn't all these characters have character development? Was it incompetence? Yes, it was because of incompetence, but that's not the only reason why. With such a massive amount of characters in Halo 5, there isn't enough time to give each character the necessary development. Not to mention the fact that many of the characters were new characters. We have Locke, Tanaka, Vale, Blue Team, the Warden, and Exuberant Witness all making their introductions here. Yes, I am well aware that Blue Team plays a huge role in the books. Locke was introduced in Nightfall, and Tanaka was introduced in a comic, Vale was introduced in a book, yada yada yada. But you need to remember that most people who played Halo 5 didn't read or watch any of the extended material. Basically, the overabundance of characters really screwed over Halo 5's story. So, how can Halo 6 handle this issue? One way Halo 6 could handle this issue is by simply getting rid of the excess characters that fans didn't like. However, this would not go over well with some fans. If you watched my first video, you'll know that Bungie is taking a similar approach to this with the Exo Stranger in Destiny 2. I didn't like that because I was intrigued by the opportunities presented by her character. Similarly, there are opportunities with Locke and the other characters of Halo 5. Imagine if Locke learns of the corruption within Oni and decides to go rogue and fight for his beliefs. What are his beliefs? That would be so interesting to explore. So, here's my proposal to fix the too many characters issue. I think it's reasonable to assume that Chief will be the main or only playable character in Halo 6's campaign. So as long as they don't keep the squad-based system, the gameplay issues caused by the large amount of characters are fixed. I also think that Locke should be kept on as a main character, and maybe he could be playable in co-op, sort of like the Arbiter in Halo 3. If Locke isn't a main character in Halo 6, that will ruin the efforts that 343 took to push him as the main character in Halo 5. And with proper character development, I don't think fans will mind having Locke as a main character. Also, I think Arbiter should be kept on as a main character, because come on, everyone likes the Arbiter. I think Lasky and Palmer should also be kept on, as they could play roles similar to Commander Keyes and Sergeant Johnson from Halo 3. Captain Lasky had the beginnings of a good character in Halo 4, but that was dropped in Halo 5. Simply continue his character development from Halo 4, and I think Lasky will become a fan-beloved character. As for Palmer, her character needs to be reworked to be more likable. I don't want her to be a Johnson clone, but if she starts throwing out cool one-liners, I think people will be happy. As for the villains, such as Cortana and the Warden, well, I'll save that topic for another day. So, we've addressed the main cast of characters for Halo 6. But what about Blue Team and Osiris? This is my idea for them. Make a Spartan Ops-esque mode that focuses on what Blue Team and Osiris are doing throughout the campaign of Halo 6. This mode could be squad-based like Halo 5's campaign, so 343 can continue their idea of how they wanted to evolve Halo's campaign gameplay, while still keeping fans happy with a single-player campaign. Characters from Osiris and Blue Team could also make cameo appearances in the main campaign, and this could help to tie in the stories between the new Spartan Ops and the campaign. I think this idea of a new Spartan Ops solves all the issues caused by the large amount of characters. The campaign will have a smaller amount of characters, giving each character more time for character development. Also, some gameplay issues will be solved by the campaign being single player. On the other end of the spectrum, Osiris and Blue Team will be able to get their much needed character development, and fans of the co-op style of Halo 5's campaign will get more of that in the new Spartan Ops. The new Spartan Ops could also release missions as DLC, similarly to how Halo 4 did it. In conclusion, Halo 5's vast amount of characters hindered its story and campaign gameplay. Halo 6 can solve these issues by taking Fireteam, Osiris, and Blue Team, sans Locke and Chief, and giving them their own Spartan Ops mode. This mode would have its own story, and continue the squad-based gameplay style from Halo 5. Feel free to let me know your opinions in the comments section. This is the Douglas27, signing off.